Welcome to Cloud Dreams, where each night we guide you to deep, peaceful sleep, carried by soothing stories and calming sounds. Take a deep breath in and slowly let it out. Feel your body begin to relax. Every muscle unwinding, softening. You are safe here, in this moment. All is calm, all is peaceful. Imagine you are standing at the entrance to a beautiful old library. The air is warm and still, carrying the faint scent of aged paper and wooden shelves. The doorway stands open, inviting you in. You take a step forward, slowly and gently. With each step, you feel the weight of the outside world drift away. Everything outside this library can wait. Right now, you are here, in this quiet, serene space. Inside, the light is soft and golden. The ceiling stretches high above you. The walls lined with endless shelves of books. Each shelf holds stories, knowledge, and secrets waiting to be discovered. The floor beneath your feet feels smooth, comforting, as you walk deeper into the library. There is no rush. No hurry. Everything around you seems to breathe in rhythm with your own soft breaths. With each inhale, you feel lighter. With each exhale, you release any tension still lingering. You notice a large wooden table in the center of the room. On it rests a single book, open, as if waiting for you. The pages are delicate, slightly yellowed with age, but the words are clear. They seem to glow softly, drawing you closer. You walk toward the table, your steps slow, deliberate. Each step feels natural, as if you have been here before, in this timeless place. This library feels familiar, like an old friend, welcoming you back after a long journey. As you reach the table, you sit down on a soft, cushioned chair. It supports you perfectly, allowing you to sink into its embrace. Before you, the book's words seem to shimmer, as though they are alive. You feel a sense of calm, a deep peace, as if this moment is meant just for you. You begin to read. The words are gentle, flowing. They tell the story of Irina, the guardian of this ancient library. Her role is sacred, her task essential to protect the knowledge, the magic hidden within these walls. Irina is not just any librarian. She is a keeper of secrets, a protector of wisdom that has been passed down through generations. In this quiet place, she walks through the rows of books, each one holding a piece of history, of power. She knows every book by heart, every shelf, every corner. The library is her home, her refuge, and she is its guardian. As you read, you can almost see her moving through the aisles, her fingers gently brushing the spines of ancient tomes. Her presence is calm, like the library itself, steady, unwavering. She has been here for years, perhaps longer than even she knows. And yet, she remains dedicated, loyal to her task. You turn the page, feeling the texture of the paper under your fingertips. The story draws you deeper, but there is no urgency. You are here with Irina in the stillness of the library. The world outside fades even further away, leaving only the soft glow of the lamp beside you, the gentle hum of the library around you. Irina's story begins to unfold. She is not alone in this library. Though the place seems empty at first, it holds mysteries far greater than any she could have imagined. And tonight, something stirs in the shadows. Something or someone is searching for the knowledge hidden here. But Irina is ready. She always is. Her heart is steady, her mind clear. She knows what must be done. And now, you, too, will join her on this journey as the story continues to unfold. For now, just breathe. Feel the peace of the library, the safety of this place. Irina is there, in the shadows, watching over the books, watching over you. You are in her care, in the care of the library's quiet magic. With each breath, you sink deeper into the comfort of the story. The library, Irina, the books, the warm light, they all welcome you, just as you are. There is no rush. No need to think of anything else. As the pages of the book turn, you feel lighter, more at ease. The soft glow of the library surrounds you, holding you in its peaceful embrace. You are part of the story now, part of this ancient place. In the stillness, you feel connected to the books, to the space, to Irina. Her story is your story. And together, you will continue this journey, exploring the secrets of the library, step by step, page by page. Now, simply breathe. The story awaits, and you are ready. As you sit comfortably in the quiet library, the story of Irina begins to unfold like a delicate leaf in the wind. Irina, the guardian, moves with quiet grace through the endless rows of books. Her presence here is constant, a steady force that ensures the safety of this ancient, sacred space. This library is no ordinary place. It holds more than stories. It holds secrets, old and powerful, whispered through the ages, bound within its books. Irina is no ordinary librarian. Her role is far greater than organizing and tending to the shelves. She is a protector, sworn to guard the hidden magic woven into the very fabric of the library. Her duty is not just to care for the books, but to ensure that the knowledge and power contained within them remain safe, untouched by those who seek to misuse it. As she walks through the rows of ancient volumes, her fingers gently brush the spines of books, each one containing a world of its own. Some books hold histories, others hold dreams, and some, the most dangerous of all, hold spells. These are the books that require the greatest care. They whisper softly, though no one can hear them but Irina. She knows the words they carry, the ancient languages that could bend time, shift reality, or summon forces beyond imagination. But she also knows the weight of the responsibility they bear. The library itself is like a living being. It breathes quietly, the soft hum of its energy filling the space. Every book, every shelf is connected, as if by invisible threads of magic. This magic is old, far older than Irina, and it pulses gently, a quiet reminder of the power that sleeps within these walls. The library is vast, its shelves reaching toward the sky, with secret passages and hidden rooms that only Irina knows. She is the keeper of the keys, the only one who can unlock its deepest chambers. Irina walks through these aisles, her steps light and deliberate. She knows every corner of this place, every nook and cranny. She knows the stories held within the books, the characters that once lived in their pages, and the spells that slumber, waiting for the right hands or the wrong ones to wake them. The responsibility she carries is great, but Irina bears it with calm determination. The library's magic is subtle. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention. Instead, it whispers in soft tones, guiding Irina, helping her sense when something is out of place. It speaks to her through the air, through the shifting shadows, through the faint glow of the books that contain the most powerful spells. It lets her know when someone enters the library with intentions that are not pure. But there is peace in her task. 2. Irina finds comfort in the rhythm of her work. Each day, she tends to the books with care, knowing that as long as they are safe, the world outside remains in balance. The magic here is not meant for ordinary hands. It was sealed long ago, protected by generations of guardians. And now, that responsibility rests with her. The library is her refuge, but also her charge. There are moments when she feels the weight of her duty, when the loneliness of her role presses against her heart. Yet, she has made peace with this solitude. In the quiet of the library, she finds solace. The soft rustle of pages turning, the scent of old paper, the warmth of the wooden shelves, all of it surrounds her, comforting her like an old friend. Irina knows the danger that comes with guarding this place. There are those who seek the power hidden in the library, those who would use it for their own gain without understanding the consequences. And Irina's role is to protect the world from such individuals. She must always be vigilant, always prepared for the moment when someone may try to breach the library's defenses. Yet for all its power, the library is not a place of fear. It is a place of wonder. Every book holds the potential for discovery, for adventure, for learning. Irina has read many of the books here, though there are some even she dares not open. Not because of the danger they hold, but because she respects the knowledge they contain. She knows that some things are meant to remain hidden, locked away until the time is right, if that time ever comes. Irina's connection to the library runs deep. It is not just a place where she works. It is a part of her, and she is a part of it. The magic of the library flows through her, guiding her, protecting her as much as she protects it. She understands its rhythms, its moods. Sometimes, the air feels heavier, as if the library itself is preparing for something, sensing a disturbance long before it happens. Other times, the space feels light, almost playful, as if inviting Irina to explore its hidden corridors and forgotten corners. But Irina knows better than to be complacent. She has seen what can happen when powerful knowledge falls into the wrong hands. She has heard stories of other libraries, other guardians, who failed in their task. She carries those lessons with her, a quiet reminder that her duty is not just to the library, but to the world beyond its walls. Despite the heavy responsibility, Irina finds joy in her work. She loves the feel of the books in her hands, the stories they tell, the wisdom they offer. She takes pride in knowing that she's part of something much larger than herself. Each day, as she walks through the library, she is reminded of the generations of guardians who came before her and the ones who will come after. She is part of a long, unbroken chain stretching back through the centuries, connected by the shared mission to protect the magic that lies within these walls. The library, with all its secrets and all its power, is safe with Irina. She watches over it with care, with patience, and with love. The magic hums softly around her, like a lullaby, reassuring her that as long as she is here, the world is safe. The library's familiar stillness wrapped around Irina, soft and comforting. The warm light from the lamps bathed the towering bookshelves in a golden glow, and the scent of old parchment filled the air. This place had always been her refuge, a sanctuary where everything remained calm and under her protection. But tonight, something was different. A subtle tension lingered in the air, a shift so faint it could have been missed by anyone else. Irina's steps slowed, her senses sharpening. She knew this place like the back of her hand, and any disturbance, no matter how small, stood out. There was something here that didn't belong. A soft creak from the floorboards broke the silence. The sound was faint but enough to catch her attention. Her heartbeat quickened, though her expression remained calm. No one should have been in the library at this hour. The doors were locked, and only a few knew how to access the library's hidden passages. Taking a deep breath, Irina focused her senses. Years of guarding this magical space had taught her to trust her instincts. Moving silently, she followed the source of the sound, her steps light and deliberate. As she moved, she felt the subtle hum of the library's magic responding to her, sending ripples through the air. The magic was ancient, protective, and always vigilant. Now, it was luring her to something foreign, something dangerous. She weaved through the aisles of towering shelves, the air growing heavier with each step. Then, she saw it, a shadowed figure moving slowly through the dimly lit section of the library. The figure was a man, hooded and cloaked in darkness, his movements deliberate as he scanned the shelves. Irina's heart tightened. She knew these shelves too well. The books in this section contained some of the most dangerous knowledge the library held, magic so powerful it had been locked away for centuries. The man wasn't here by chance. He was searching for something specific, something forbidden. She stepped forward, her voice cutting through the quiet. You shouldn't be here. The man froze for a moment, then slowly turned to face her. His face was obscured by the shadows of his hood, but his posture remained calm, almost too calm. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The tension between them thickened, filling the space like a heavy fog. Finally, the man's voice broke the silence, low and measured. I've come for something I need. Irina's gaze remained steady, though her heart raced beneath the surface. This place is not for those who don't understand what they seek. The man's eyes, barely visible under the hood, narrowed slightly. He took a slow step toward her. You know what I'm looking for, he said softly, his voice tinged with something darker. Don't you? She did. There was no doubt in her mind. He was searching for the forbidden book, the one that had been sealed away in the deepest part of the library. It contained magic so dangerous, so uncontrollable, that even those who knew of its existence feared it. And now, this man stood before her, intent on claiming it. I can't let you take it, Irina said, her voice firm but calm. The man tilted his head slightly, a mocking smile curling at the edge of his lips. Do you think you can stop me? The air around them seemed to pulse with tension, the magic of the library stirring in response to the growing threat. Irina could feel it, an ancient energy rising from the shelves, quiet but powerful. She knew she had to protect it. Her role as guardian was clear, and she would not let the library fall into the wrong hands. The power in that book isn't yours to control, she said, her voice steady but full of warning. The man's smile faded, replaced by a hard, cold expression. I need that power, he said, his voice lowering, filled with dark intent. And I will have it. The lights in the library flickered, casting long, eerie shadows across the shelves. Irina felt the magic of the library gathering around her, protective and ancient. She knew the man would try to take the book, and she couldn't let that happen. Not now, not ever. You don't understand what you're dealing with, she said softly. Her eyes locked on his. The man's gaze hardened. I understand more than you think. As he spoke, the shadows around him seemed to thicken, twisting and curling as if responding to his presence. The air between them grew colder, and the tension mounted, but neither of them moved. Irina stood firm, her breath steady as she prepared for what might come next. She could feel the dark magic emanating from the man, but she couldn't act too soon. Her duty was to protect, not to provoke, and if there was a way to avoid a confrontation, she had to find it. The man took another step forward, his hand moving slowly beneath his cloak. Irina's senses sharpened, and she felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her. This was no ordinary intruder. She had sensed his power, the darkness that surrounded him, and now she understood. He wasn't just a man seeking knowledge, he was a dark mage, one who sought the forbidden magic that had been hidden away for so long. Her heart raced, but she stood her ground. There's always a choice, she said softly. The man's eyes flashed with anger, but there was a flicker of something else there too, determination, or perhaps desperation. Not this time, he growled. Irina felt the magic of the library surge around her, protective and strong, as if sensing the impending danger. The air grew heavier, the tension thickening with every passing second. She knew what was coming, and so did he. The man's gaze darkened, and the room seemed to shift. But Irina did not waver. She stood tall, her heart steadying as she prepared for the confrontation she knew was inevitable. The library's once gentle, serene atmosphere now pulsed with a tension impossible to ignore. Shadows grew darker, longer, and the air felt thick with anticipation. Irina stood in the heart of the library, her breath steady but her mind fully alert. She knew the danger that was closing in. This man was no ordinary intruder. He was a dark mage, someone skilled in forbidden magic, and the power he saw could tear apart everything Irina had spent her life protecting. The dark mage's eyes were cold, calculating. He watched her, as if waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The shadows around him twisted and writhed, responding to the dark energy gathering at his fingertips. The library's magic, old and protective, hummed quietly around Irina, ready to defend itself. You won't leave with what you came for, Irina said softly, her voice calm but firm. The mage's lips curled into a cold smile. I didn't come all this way to fail. With a flick of his wrist, the mage summoned a wave of dark energy. The shadows leaped forward, rushing toward Irina like a sudden storm. The air grew cold, and the room seemed to contract as the darkness spread. But Irina was ready. She raised her hand, and the library's magic responded instantly, forming a shimmering barrier of light between her and the attack. The dark energy crashed against the barrier, dissolving into nothing but a faint, icy breeze. The light surrounding Irina pulsed softly, holding strong against the shadows. The mage stepped back, his eyes narrowing in frustration. You think your magic is enough to stop me? Irina didn't respond. Instead, she focused on the energy flowing through her. It wasn't just her power. It was the library's magic, an ancient force that had protected these halls for centuries. It moved through her, steady and strong, giving her strength and clarity. She knew she couldn't let him reach the forbidden books. The dark mage wasted no time. His hands moved swiftly, weaving dark spells into the air. Shadows thickened, swirling around him like smoke. The lamps flickered, casting erratic, distorted light across the room. "I've come for the book," he said, his voice low and determined. "And I will take it." The air crackled with tension as he unleashed another wave of dark magic. This time, the shadows didn't just lash out, they wrapped themselves around the bookshelves, reaching for the forbidden knowledge hidden within the library's depths. Irina's heart tightened. She could feel the danger intensifying, the pull of dark magic growing stronger. The bookshelves trembled slightly under the pressure of the spell, their ancient magic resisting but straining. She couldn't let him take control. Without hesitation, Irina called upon the library's power once more. The shelves glowed faintly, responding to her call. The light grew brighter, enveloping the books in a protective shield. The shadows recoiled, unable to penetrate the barrier. "You'll never touch the knowledge here," Irina said, her voice soft but resolute. The mage's eyes flashed with anger. He stretched his arms wide, and the room grew colder still. "You don't understand the power I need," he said through gritted teeth. "I can't leave without it." Irina stood her ground, her gaze steady. She could feel the magic of the library surrounding her, calming her giving her the strength she needed to face him. The air hummed with energy, ancient and wise, and Irina knew that as long as the library stood, she was not alone. There are some powers that no one should possess, she replied. You'll destroy everything if you take it. The mage clenched his fists, his frustration building. Shadows gathered at his feet, swirling faster, darker. The air felt thick and heavy, as though it was holding its breath. Then, with a sharp movement, the mage hurled his magic at her again, this time with more force, more desperation. The shadows lunged toward Irina, sharp and unforgiving. But once again, the library's magic rose to meet the threat. A radiant light burst forth from the shelves, expanding outward in a brilliant wave. It pushed the darkness back, filling the room with warmth and soft, golden light. For a moment, everything was still. The shadows hesitated, as if unsure how to proceed. The dark mage's face twisted in frustration. You don't know what you're protecting, he said, his voice tight with anger. I need that book. Irina's gaze softened, but her resolve did not waver. I know exactly what I'm protecting, she replied gently. And I know the danger you'll bring if you take it. The mage's eyes darkened. He took a step closer, his voice a harsh whisper. You can't stop me. Irina felt the library's magic surge once more, steadying her. She was the guardian of this place, but she was not alone in this fight. The library itself was alive with power, its energy wrapping around her like a protective cloak. Together, they could hold him off. You're wrong, she said softly. I can. With that, the room shifted. The mage made a final, desperate move. His hands shot out, and the shadows exploded into motion. A swirling vortex of dark magic aimed straight at Irina. The room seemed to shake under the force of the spell. Books rattled on their shelves, the air thick with the sound of magic clashing. But Irina was ready. She raised both hands, calling on the full strength of the library's magic. Light exploded from the shelves, brighter than before, enveloping the entire room. The darkness hit the light, and for a moment, the two forces collided with a deafening silence. Then, slowly, the darkness began to fade. The light from the library grew stronger, pushing the shadows back, inch by inch. The cold receded, replaced by a gentle warmth that spread through the room. The dark magic dissolved into the air, leaving nothing but a faint whisper. The mage stumbled back, his breath shallow, his eyes wide with disbelief. He had failed. Irina stood tall, her heart pounding but her hands steady. She could feel the magic of the library humming softly around her, settling back into its peaceful rhythm. The danger had passed. For now. The dark mage looked at her, his face pale, his voice barely above a whisper. You don't understand. I had no choice. Irina's gaze softened. She could see the desperation in his eyes, the weight of whatever had driven him to this point. But she knew she couldn't let him take the book. The risk was too great. There's always a choice, she said quietly. For a long moment, the two of them stood in silence, the soft glow of the library casting gentle shadows around them. The mage looked down, his shoulders slumping in defeat. Slowly, he turned away, his footsteps heavy as he made his way toward the door. As the door closed behind him, the room returned to its usual calm. The magic of the library settled, like a soft sigh after a long storm. Irina took a deep breath, letting the tension drain from her body. The library was safe once more. She knew this wouldn't be the last time someone sought the forbidden knowledge hidden within these walls. But for now, the library was at peace. And as long as she stood guard, its secrets would remain safe. With one final glance at the shelves, Irina allowed herself a moment of stillness. The library's magic flowed around her, warm and protective, and she knew that as long as she was here, no harm would come to this place. The battle was over, but her watch continued. The library's secrets were safe. For now, and always. The library had grown quiet once again, but it was a different kind of silence. It wasn't the peaceful stillness Irina had known for years. It was heavy, weighed down by the echoes of the battle that had just taken place. Shadows no longer swirled menacingly in the corners, but the tension of what had transpired still lingered in the air. Irina stood in the center of it all, breathing deeply, trying to steady herself. The magic of the library hummed softly around her, as if comforting her. reminding her that the danger had passed. But there was no joy in this victory, only exhaustion, and something else, a feeling she couldn't yet name. The dark mage was gone, his power spent, his will broken. He had left the library defeated, but not before leaving an imprint on the space they had fought over. Irina could still feel the traces of his dark magic in the air, like a shadow that wouldn't fully lift. The battle was over, but its mark would remain. She took a step forward, her legs feeling heavier than before, as if the weight of the confrontation was finally catching up with her. She had won, yes, but at what cost? The magic she had called upon, the strength she had used, had drained her in ways she hadn't anticipated. And the library, though it had protected itself, felt different, quieter, as if it too was recovering from the strain. Irina walked slowly through the rows of bookshelves, her fingers lightly brushing the spines of the ancient tomes. The knowledge stored here was safe, for now. But she knew this victory wasn't permanent. There would be others like the dark mage who would come seeking power, seeking what they didn't fully understand. She would have to face them too. But for now, she allowed herself a moment to breathe, a moment to reflect. The battle had tested her in ways she hadn't expected. It wasn't just about magic or power. It was about her role as the guardian of this place, about the choices she had made and the choices that still lay ahead. She had stood firm, protected the library, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted inside her. Something had changed. She thought of the dark mage. His words still echoed in her mind, asterisk, I had no choice. Asterisk, there had been such desperation in his voice, such a deep, consuming need. Irina had faced many threats before, but none like him. None with such a tragic sense of purpose. Had he really believed there was no other way? That the power hidden within these walls was his only salvation? Irina's heart ached with the thought. She didn't pity him. Not exactly. But she understood, in a way, the need for power, for control, could drive people to terrible lengths. And yet, it was never the answer. The cost of that pursuit was too high. Irina paused before the section of the library where the forbidden books were kept. The shelves here were darker, the books sealed with ancient spells that only she could unlock. She had sworn to protect this knowledge, to keep keep it out of the hands of those who would misuse it. But at times, the burden of that responsibility felt overwhelming. She had won this battle, yes, but it had come at a cost she was only beginning to understand. As she stood there, the library's magic wrapped around her like a gentle breeze, warm and familiar. It reminded her of her purpose, of the oath she had taken when she became the guardian of this place. But it also reminded her that she was not invincible. The strain she felt now, both physically and emotionally, was proof of that. Irina let out a slow breath, her gaze drifting to the floor. She had done what was necessary, but it hadn't been easy. And it wouldn't get easier. Each bow took something from her, something she couldn't always replace. The library, too, felt the cost. The light that usually filled the room seemed dimmer now, as if the very magic of the place was recovering from the battle. It would heal, in time, but the scars would remain, invisible but real. She walked to a nearby window, looking out at the world beyond the library's walls. The night sky was dark and still, stars twinkling faintly in the distance. It was peaceful out there, quiet. But Irina knew that peace was fragile. It always had been. That was why she had sworn to protect it, to keep the knowledge hidden within these walls from falling into the wrong hands. But even she couldn't protect everything. Even she had limits. Irina rested her hand on the cool glass of the window, letting the stillness of the night wash over her. The battle was over, but the weight of it remained, pressing down on her like a shadow. She had won, but victory didn't feel the way she had expected. There had been a cost. There was always a cost. As the minutes passed, the library's magic began to settle, its soft hum returning to its usual rhythm. Irina could feel it, slowly rebuilding itself, finding its balance once more. It comforted her, reminded her that despite everything, the library would endure. And so would she. But as she turned away from the window and began to walk through the aisles again, she knew that something had changed. The dark mage had left a mark, not just on the library, but on her. She had faced a powerful enemy, and she had won, but the battle had left her questioning things she hadn't questioned before. What would happen next time? Would the next mage be stronger? More desperate? And how much more would she have to give to protect this place she had sworn to guard? Irina didn't know the answers to those questions. Not yet. But as she walked through the familiar halls of the library, she knew one thing for certain: no matter the cost, no matter the price she had to pay, she would continue to protect this place. Because some things were worth protecting, even if they came with a price. The magic of the library whispered softly in her ears, its energy warm and soothing. It was a reminder of why she fought, why she stood guard. The library's secrets were safe. For now. And as long as she remained the guardian, they would stay that way. But deep down, Irina knew that every victory carried a cost. And with each battle, she would have to find the strength to bear it. For now, she allowed herself a moment of peace, a brief respite in the quiet halls of the library. She had won, but the price of that victory would stay with her. The library's secrets were safe, but the burden of that safety was hers to carry. And carry it she would.